Hello and welcome back to Focus Atlanta. Thanks so much for continuing to watch. In our last segment, we are going to chat a little bit about mental health and mental health care. So often, we hear about stories about children and adolescents and even adults who are having mental health struggles and they don't even know where to turn to. Well, there is a place, and we're going to talk a little bit about Grow Therapy. I'm here with Amy McWilliams. Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Right off the heels of Suicide Awareness Month, I just feel like it's so important to continue to have the conversation. Stigma is such a huge part of getting mental health care often, and when it's a difficult conversation, we tend to shy away from it, right? We just don't talk about it at all. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the most common myths about suicide awareness is that it's okay to talk about it. I think people are afraid that if they talk about it, they'll cause it, and that's actually a big misconception.
Okay, absolutely. We want people to know that, if they have a concern, if there is someone that they, in their life that they want to have this conversation with, please have the conversation. And so often, there's stigma also with therapy in general. I don't want anybody to think I'm crazy. I don't want anybody to think something is wrong with me. Well, if you go to the doctor about a physical ailment, you need to go to the doctor about a mental one as well.
Absolutely. And I use that a lot with my clients as an LCSW. We talk about that. If you are a diabetic, you go and you get insulin at times or medication. It's the same thing for mental health. You need to often, with depression or anxiety or other symptoms, talk therapy as well as sometimes medication management can really help people feel less hopeless, which is often one of the symptoms of someone who is considering suicide.
And we don't want that hopeless feeling to linger, which is why I thought that Grow Therapy was so interesting, because I think a lot of times also people make excuses to not go to a therapist, right? But if you can do this, online, in the comfort of your home, in your own space, perhaps that's, another window to get people to get the help that they need.
Absolutely. Grow Therapy makes it very accessible. You can go online through the growtherapy.com website. You can kind of search based on insurance, which is lovely because I know a lot of providers are hard to locate depending on what insurance that you have. But Grow makes it very easy to get online, select kind of your symptoms, and find a therapist that's specialized in what you're kind of looking to grow in. So.
Absolutely. For those people who maybe have never, seen a therapist and have never taken the opportunity to, go outside of their little bubble, because I think also that's what it is also, that sometimes, if your parents didn't go to therapy, you don't ever really think of going to therapy, or if your friends didn't go to therapy, you don't ever really think of it. What would you say to that person who may be struggling a little bit? The pandemic caused isolation issues with a lot of people. There were things there that we may need to deal with. What would your advice be to that first timer?
Oh, that's a great question. We always recommend that people give it a good chance. Like, don't just go one time, because sometimes the barrier is you didn't have a good fit with a provider, or that you didn't give it enough opportunity to kind of feel close or connected to the person. So it's really important to give it a shot, go several times. And if it's not a good fit, that's the great thing about Grow. You can go back online, you can search again and give it another shot.
Oh, I love that. Amy, thank you so much for coming back on the show and sharing this information. In closing, is there something that you would say to, again, that first timer, or someone who's having, some struggles with isolation, some struggles with the pandemic, some struggles, feeling like they're alone in this space? What would your advice be to them?
My advice would be that it's actually really beneficial to try. I think vulnerability is really a hard thing for a lot of people, and it's a private place where you can go and really connect with someone. And it's my personal experience is it's amazing to see people feel hopeful again. There is hope if you just give it a little bit of an opportunity to develop and feel comfortable with that individual.
Thank you so much. That, and I have to say that even made me feel hopeful. So thank you so much for, expressing it in that way for our viewers. It was a pleasure to see you.
Yes, me too. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We have to take every opportunity we can to talk about our mental health care. I think that, Suicide Awareness Month being last month, I think it was just another opportunity for us to take that first step for someone, perhaps that you've been meaning to have a conversation with and you haven't. Well, take the time to do it now. We can all use a little help sometimes. Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of Focus Atlanta. I hope that you've learned something, and I hope to see you back next week.